it going, everyone? It's Mike with this old hot rod. I'm outside again working on the Roadster, the 27 Model T Roadster. It's Sunday a little after lunchtime. It's a beautiful day. So if you ever wanted to build a car outside in your driveway, wait till September. It is the perfect weather. Minus some rain a few days here and there, but it has just been awesome being outside working on this thing. So yesterday I spent a little bit of time in between everything we had going on. I had a short window, so I didn't film some of the things that I did. And I'm going to show you some of the things I did. I ended up kind of flip-flopping around back and forth on a few things. But the main thing that I got done yesterday was I worked on the steering. And you can see the car has a steering column in it. So it's a cross steer from a 46 sedan. So there's 3 mounting points on the steering box for that particular vehicle. Whoop, just dropped the bolt. I have one of them at this point mounted. I welded a piece of angle iron, a thick piece of metal, it's 1/4 inch. I already had the bolt in it. I drilled it, opened it up a little bit, drilled the hole on the box also, opened up that a little bit so I could put a little bit more of a stout bolt in there. So I have one more bolt here, and then I have another one on the back side about in this region here. So what I'm going to do is at some point when I pull the motor out, I'll pull the steering out, I'll put a plate in here, and then I'll just drill my 2 holes, and I'll use a 1/4 inch plate, and I'll just tap it. I'll just tap it, and then I'll just be able to bolt right into that plate. So those will be done. But for now, it's in here. It's not going anywhere. The reason why I went back and forth the other day was the fact that I tried running the aftermarket headers on the motor. I was not able to do that. So I ended up removing the header and putting the stock manifold back on. The exhaust dump, as you can see, is in the front, so that's kind of what saved me as far as, you know, the steering and all that stuff. And then what other thing I worked on was the clutch actuator arm. I got that welded up. I got that small little collar removed from the shaft of the transmission. You can see it. I got it welded. I got it welded onto cross shaft, and I ended up having to relocate the ball. There's a ball that clutch rod pivots on, which is here. I ended up having to relocate that. It was up inside the X member. So if I show you a side view of the X member comes here and it stops now. That's not going to stay that way. The reason it stops is it's exactly in line where this clutch ball needed to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add to this X member and then reconnect it to the frame. I think I'm just going to go up and over the clutch arm instead of below it, because I don't want to block any of my access to these bolts. But this is just tacked in place at this point. It's not welded permanently. I still need to build my actuator arm from here to the top of the clutch shaft. That's basically ready to go. I just need to build the arm, and then I should have a functioning clutch. But that thing's in there, and it has to be exactly straight. It has to be parallel with the transmission. It will move here, but it needs to be fixed on this end. So that's what I got. I have a master cylinder, an early Ford master cylinder, like a 39 style master cylinder that's on its way. So I'm waiting for that to get here before I can get the brakes figured out. So on the steering, you can see the pitman arm down here. I'm not going to know how this is going to work out until I get my steering arms dropped and I get the tie rod in that I'm going to use. Today what I'm going to work on is the rear suspension. So I just threw some clamps on this T-spring. I need to get that center bolt removed. I need to loosen the pressure on those clamps, separate that spring. I'm only going to end up running 4 springs. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 here now. 42 to 48. They have a different adjustment, and it's easier to adjust those style brakes. So this is just on here temporarily on the driver's side. On the passenger side, I just installed the races and the bearings with all the seals and everything, and then just mounted the drum. Mounted the actual drum itself so I could mount the wheel. So I kind of wish I just did that on the driver's side as well, but that's okay. You can see the other drum underneath the axle, holding the axle up. That tire is actually flat. So I have it sitting on top of that drum, so it actually works out pretty good. So I could just kind of get it on the ground and get a look at it and see what it's going to look like. So what I've been kind of dragging my feet doing was getting to work on the rear axle and the rear spring. In order to do what I need to do on the rear, I needed to set the front down, get the taller jack stands, so I could use those on the back of the car. So I'm going to get to doing that now. I'm going to get the back of the car jacked up, get those blocks out of there, and get the larger jack stands underneath the car, so I can get the back of the car higher in the air, so I can get the axle in and out easier with the spring on it. Because I think the position it's at right now, I don't think I can get the axle underneath the car with the spring attached to it. So what I'm going to do at the moment is I'm going to pull that T-spring apart right now. That's going to be my first order of business. I got these clamps already on here. I got to get that bolt taken off and get this spring separated. So let's do that. Tools I need. I got these little trays I ended up just putting my tools in. I'm working outside here, and every night I have to take my tools and bring them back in the garage and then bring them out the next day. These trays just make it a little bit easier. So now I just slowly loosen these. You can start to see the leaves separating. I don't know that there's as much pressure on this spring as there is like a Model A spring. Alright, so as I said earlier in the video, I'm going to remove half of the leaves. So I'm going to take this second leaf and remove it. Drop that down. These cars are pretty light, so I think I'll still be okay. That leaf. And then this leaf I'll run on the bottom. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. And that, and I may end up having to cut one of those to use as a spacer. But I won't know until I get it put together. These don't typically work once you remove the leaves out of them, so I'm not going to run those. Just line up the holes. Space in there, but that's still okay. It actually may end up working in my favor. Got a nice spring to it. I'm gonna pull that rear axle out from underneath the car. Oh, my battery's low. Keep going till it dies, and I'll fire up a new one. I got a splitting headache today, you guys, so I'm kind of moving a little slow. I don't know why I got a headache, but I do. Tired, had a late night, hanging out with friends, guys in the club. Just got this sitting here for looks. Hopefully I won't need to keep them on there for looks for long. this axle will actually be in the car. So I went down and got my buddy's spring spreader, and I've never used one before. He modified it, so I got to cut these welds off where he modified it. He added this piece of angle iron because he's got a reversed eye spring. So I guess the eye of the spring must sit here instead of down here. Otherwise it would go this way. So I think it's got to go this way. I've never used one before, but so we're gonna learn how to use it together. I just got to remove this bracket. Either that, I'll pull the spring back apart and just build it on the axle. That's usually what I do. I'm just going to do that. This is how I've done it since day one, so I'm just going to do it that way. I'm going to pull this back apart. So I'll get my shackles. I'll put my main leaf in the shackles. I'll get that set in place, and I'll put my leaf pack on top of the main leaf, and then I'll build it on the axle. And I think I'm going to use a different bolt. That bolt's actually, the threads are too short. Because it's got, that bolt has a shank on it, and the shank's long. That's why it didn't pinch the spring all the way when I tightened it. See how long the shank is on that bolt. Only has 3/4 of an inch of threads. So we're going to get a bolt that's same length is fine, but I just need more threads. So I'm gonna go switch this out and go grab some shackles and then switch my battery out at the same time. I've got to switch to video on my phone for right now. For some reason I've been filming with my camera, and now all of a sudden it says there's no memory card in my camera when there is a memory card in my camera. So I don't know what's going on, but something wrong with the camera at the moment. So what I'm working on now is getting this Model T spring set onto the rear axle, the Model A rear axle. Shackles are put together. Now I'm obviously connecting the spring pack with the main leaf. Look at these dogs. She's such a goof. So yeah, so I'm struggling to try to get this thing together without it keep blowing back apart, which it's been doing. Trying to get that together so I can get this into the car, so then I can figure out exactly how I need to build or modify those trailing arms, those radius rods, to get them built and put into underneath the car. I don't know exactly how I'm going to mount them yet. T-spring mounted to the rear axle. I have 4 leaves and then a spacer underneath. I'm hoping that'll be enough. I have these blocks. I'm hoping these go far enough up inside the rear cross member that they hold the spring in place. So you can see I got the torque tube still up on that block. I'm hoping that this rear axle is going to go up underneath there with the spring. I don't know that it is. If it doesn't, then I have to lift the back of the car up. But I'll figure that out. This is what I was afraid of. The spring's going to be too tall. Just the bolt is hitting. You gotta be kidding me. Just the bolt head. Rear axle's in, one of the U-bolts in right now. I'm going to grease up the threads on this one. Alright, so the rear axle's in for now. As in as it's going to be for today, I think. My head hurts so bad right now that I am struggling, I'm not going to lie. So what I want to do is I want to sit this thing down on the ground, but before I do that I gotta go get the other tire, the other rear tire. Low front tire on the driver's side, and I have a low rear tire on the passenger side. But I wanted to walk around, I'm trying to clean things up, just because that's where I'm gonna leave it for the rest of the day. It's still somewhat early, but again, like I said, man, I'm just fighting a headache, and I don't know why. I'm gonna go and do some chores and stuff that I need to get done. I'm gonna work on a video. You see the block of wood next to the passenger rear wheel. So I kind of want to give you guys an idea of what it looked like. What do you think, guys? This thing, it evolved pretty quick, as you guys know. I'll kind of rattle off some of the things I need to do still. I need to weld the wishbone mounts on. I need to weld the wishbones where I pie cut them. Right there. I need to pull the motor out, flush the motor out inside, make sure it's good to go. Put oil in the motor. I'm not going to put the oil filter. I'm not going to run that. I'm just not going to have a filter. Head gaskets, intake gasket. I'll go through those carbs. I'm still waiting on my radiator. That's on order. That should be here any day. I expected to have it already. Steering components. I need to get a tie rod. I don't have one. What else needs to be done? Radius rods. The radius rods aren't on here. What I'm going to end up having to do most likely is come off the rear axle on the inside of the X member. Otherwise it's going to hit the X member because of the Z'd rear. So I got to do the wishbone mount. Like I said, I'm waiting on master cylinder so I can do my brake pedal, get that situated. I got to do clutch linkage. I'm going to fill in this dash right here and reinforce it for the column drop, but I want to spin this column drop so it's flat instead of it being on an angle. Or you know what, maybe I'll just leave it because that's probably how they would have done it back in the day. It doesn't change anything. It's just on an angle versus being flat. So I got to finish the steering, the brakes, clutch linkage, wait for my radiator to get here. I know I'm going to need stepped hoses for the bottom. I don't know. I know there's a guy on the ham that used to sell them. I got to see if I can get myself get a set of those. Get my hands on a set of them. Gauges, fuel tank. I ordered a fuel tank cleaning and sealing kit. I got tons of room in here, and I got plenty of room for that fuel tank that I bought from Vinny. It's obviously going to go right up in the front, and I got to get a battery box, which I'll probably just put the battery, you know, back here on the probably the passenger side, I guess. So I'll have the battery and the fuel tank in the trunk. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the original deck lid and I'm going to go over this deck lid, and but I'm going to louver it. So I'm going to leave this right where it is, louver the old deck lid, and put like little blisters over these bolt heads so I can hide those, and I'll just weld those. I'll just weld these bolts right to this skin. So all I got to do is undo the nut and the whole deck lid will come off, and they'll be hidden. What else? Exhaust. Good to do the exhaust. I got to put the shifter back in. Transmission doesn't have fluid in it, so I got to put fluid in the transmission. Like I said earlier, I'm not going to attach the tranny to the torque tube because it's all going to come back apart. The transmission box is bare metal still, starting to rust. I got to put the starter in. Wiring, obviously, but there's only going to be minimal wiring. Yeah, I got a lot of things on the brakes. There's just a drum there. So I got a lot of little stuff, a lot of things to do, but the big part of the car is together, and I think it looks pretty damn cool. Hopefully you guys do too. So that's going to be the Pinetree T. That's going to be my race car for next year. I'm not going to stop working on it until it's running and driving, so I'm just saying, this is my race car, 2022. If I can get this car done and drive it to the Gathering of the Faithful, which is October 16th, I'd like to do that. So if I keep pushing the way I've been pushing, I think that's a manageable goal. I have a lot of work coming up, regular work, so I'm going to be probably working long days, but I'm going to get some lights out here and just try to get some stuff done at night and just make the most of my time. I don't know that I'm going to run this grill shell. I have several other grill shells. I think I'm probably going to just run one of my other 32 grill shells. Just because this one's, I don't know, we'll see. Maybe I'll add a chin to this one. We'll see. We'll wait till the radiator gets here. So that's it, guys. I'm gonna punch out for the day. I'm gonna go work on a video, take a shower, get cleaned up, and then just chill out. Like I said, my head is just pounding. So this is the 1927 Ford Model T Roadster project. Hope you guys are enjoying the build. Hope you guys are enjoying watching it as much as I'm enjoying building it. Alright everyone, thanks a lot. Oh, I see diamonds on the screen. Thanks everybody for watching. I appreciate all the support. If you guys wouldn't mind, if you could like, subscribe, and just leave a comment. Tell me what you think about the T. Tell me what you think about just the way it's coming out. Let me know what your thoughts are. I know where mine are. I know where I stand. I know there's a lot of people that think I should put shiny paint on this car. Shiny paint's a lot of work. And shiny paint, you got to do shiny everything. And just to throw this thing together super quick and just leave it just the way it is. I made it this far. It's being cared for now. It's not sitting out in the field somewhere just rotten. It's going to be cared for, even if it's rusty color. I'm going to do patch panels. I'm going to fix the sheet metal. I'm going to do my best to preserve the car and make it actually, you know, worth something. I don't want it to be just a big pile of rust. I don't particularly care for rust, but the reason I'm building this car and the people that understand why I'm building it the way I'm building it understand just what it is to have a car like this. Just, you don't have to worry about it. It's just a car. It's just fun. It's just a old car project. And that's what I wanted it to be, and that's the way it's going to stay. At least for now. Who knows? Maybe in the future, if Dylan has interest in it and he wants to fix it up, maybe we'll fix it up. I don't know. Like I said, the body, there's not too much to the body. So, alright guys, thanks, I appreciate it. Like, subscribe, comment, tell your friends about the channel. Jeez, I got Bad Chad and Jolene are, you know, dropping the channel name all over the place while they're building the 35-36 sedan for the Pinetree Jamboree. You guys know anyone that thinks they would like the content of what I'm doing, the cars I'm building, the places I go, the things Allie and I do, the things we see, share the channel. Just tell everybody, hey man, go check out this guy Mike at This Old Hot Rod. I appreciate it. The subscriber count's going up, the view count's going up, and it just makes all the time and effort that I put into this channel worth it. And it's cool, all the comments and all the appreciation I get, and it's right back at you guys. So thanks a lot. I appreciate everything you guys doing for me, and we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.